Hello, everybody. This is Soul Level Astrologer Mark Borax with the Cosmic Weather Report live for Wednesday, February 12th, Year of the Snake, coming to you live from Putney, Vermont, in the mountains of southern Vermont, where there's a whole lot of snow outside. And I'm talking about digging through the shadows to find the light. And there are a lot of shadows creeping around the world these days. Seems like a certain amount of the population is convinced this is the apocalypse and everything good is being destroyed. And seems like another certain amount of the population is convinced that this is the beginning of the healing, the changing, the transformation. And the good things. And so let's look at how this fits with the current cosmic weather. On January 29th, just a couple of weeks ago, the year of the dragon gave way to the year of the snake. And it's always interesting to me that Asian astrology has two scaly reptile creatures in a row. We go from the big giant scaly reptile dragon to the much smaller reptile snake. And last year, the year of the dragon, was really a time to think big, launch big, huge energies, to really fly beyond the boundaries of whatever was holding you back. But the field has shifted now to the lower down to the ground. It would be hard to think of another animal lower to the ground than a snake. And that makes the snake depth oriented, thinking down deep what's going on. The snake is very hypnotic and intense. And therefore, when we're meeting challenges this year, especially relationship challenges, but not limited to that, it's important to be wary not to get totally hypnotized on the external story, on the superficial picture, because then you're going to ignore what's really snaking around in the inner depths of the soul, where a lot of medicine is brewing. And the snakes that are venomous snakes, the antidote for their poison is made with a certain percentage of the poison itself. So the snakes are kind of a homeopathic animal, in the sense that homeopathic medicine operates on the idea that a little bit of the thing that ails you, if allowed to be absorbed into your system, will get transformed to a cure. And that can be hard medicine to swallow in the year of the snake, especially when there's so much toxic thought going around, not to mention environmental toxicities, such as chemtrails and the weird bacterial fog that's been going around the country, the ways that it's hard to be healthy when there's kind of a prolonged assault on the individual, both psychologically and environmentally. But the idea that a little bit of the thing that poisons you can also cure you means that we're all going to be working with the shadow. And the shadow has a lot to do with frustrated desire, blocked sexuality, trapped passion. Many of you have worked with the idea of shadow for a long time, some of us for decades and decades. And that idea is that unless you own the ugly truth of what's going on in your deeper regions, you're going to deny it and project it onto others. And I think this is the world's sickness. It's the sickness of a projected shadow. My country, the United States of America, I think has the greatest projected shadow out of any entity in the world. It's much easier to look at other countries and see how bad and dark and violent and horrible and ugly and fascistic they are, when I think the United States is probably the greatest fascist country in the world. We're the only country that's ever exploded nuclear bombs as weapons. And so owning the shadow is not an easy task, even for those of us who've consciously chosen to work with the shadow for year after year after year. But it's especially a poisonous zone for people who are completely in denial of their shadow, do not understand their own darkness, their own frustration, haven't dealt with their own sexuality, haven't become healthy. All of these things are likely to come up this year, the year of the snake. So it's important to get in touch with your desires, what you want, what you need. You know, think of a snake acting upon its own desire. But that human shadow, even though it's such a volatile, dangerous, messy place, is also nutrient rich, especially if you become willing to shed the skin of old, worn out identities and used up roles, discarded masks, letting go of what you used to desire, letting go of the desires of ego, the superficial desires, maybe the strongest snake medicine now available to help renew your spirit and grow a new skin, a new identity that's based more on soul than ego. One way to distinguish between identities, skins, snake skins, that are more based on ego than soul is the grabby neediness of ego. Ego is always wanting attention. Ego is always wanting to be recognized, and so there's a grabby neediness to layers of identity that are based on ego, whereas layers of identity that are based on something much deeper, like the soul, tend to have more of a generative nature, a generous nature. They're not about taking, getting, having attention more and more and more, but they're more about unleashing the deep creative fire inside you. The fire that maybe last year's Year of the Dragon might have helped to ignite. So when you're in situations where your nature, your identity has to do more with what you can offer, how you can provide, what you can give, how you can participate, how you can supply, it's likely that those layers of identity, that those snake skins are more based on a deeper part of you than on the ego part. The snake is about transformation, because every so often snakes shed. But an interesting little known fact is that snakes go blind during the time of their shedding. Their eyes turn milky and opaque. And that means that while you're shedding skins, especially if you're doing the real thing, like the way a snake does, and a snake needs to attach its skin to something abrasive, like a cactus, to hook its old skin on something that it can wriggle free of. Some of your relationships, your jobs, your work, your profession, your friendships, your politics, your health, your diet, your way of being might turn into abrasive cactus barbs that you can hook your old skin on to wriggle free, which can release that kundalini force. And the kundalini means the sleeping serpent, the inner force of transformation, vitality, shakti, chi, the force that martial artists talk about as being much more powerful than just the muscles. Yesterday, and continuing on today, the sun squares Uranus, which pits our higher nature against our ego. Uranus opens the pathway to psychic vision, clairvoyance, seeing beyond the mess, seeing beyond the soap opera, beyond the headlines, beyond the drama. When that's squaring the sun, your ego nature is being squared, being challenged by who you are in the realms beyond superficial humanity, what your soul is doing. Your soul has transcended the physical realms. It's been here before in other lifetimes, in other bodies. It will be here again after you die in this life. And that higher nature, the mystical realm of who you really are beyond physical entrapments and ego snares, is being challenged. You're being challenged to break out of the old trappings, the superficial identities, and the illusion, and get with the power of really evolving, moving forward, spurring others on, where cosmic forces are really compelling the human species to awaken, to really break out. And there's so much fear, so much political hyperpolarization, so many people caught in sanctimonious self-righteousness. And we've really got to get past that now, regardless of what's happening politically. With Jupiter having gone direct in Gemini, we're in need of close friends, collaborators, and peers, all the realms of the twins that can help us shed the old skin and wrap ourselves around something nutrient, something nutritious, something real, something powerful, rather than getting all coiled up in the old stuck places of diminishment that hold us back. So we're going to be in the year of the snake for a whole year now, and that's a lot of shadow work, especially that tends to come up in relationships with others. It's really a time to realize that you can awaken, that regardless of how bad things might appear, regardless of how you may be scared, collapsed, caught in a state of fear, you have a lot of ability to transform those things by using some of the same substance that is seeming to be toxic, that you can swallow the poisons and transform them within your own system. This is dangerous medicine. It's shamanic medicine. It's really a snake dance. And yet, regardless of how bad things are, take it to the worst. Let's say Earth is going to be destroyed by an asteroid that's going to slam into us. You don't have any control over the asteroid. Someday the Earth's going to end. Someday the sun's going to burn out. You're going to die. Everybody you know is going to die. Everybody alive is going to die. You don't have control over that. You can't stop any of that, nor should you even want to. But what you do have ultimate power over is how you meet each living moment. We're offering some astrology discounts and specials that you can find by going to markborax.com. I'm going to be in Colorado in April offering some discount readings you can find out about. You can, if you don't find the information on my website, you can find my email there. You can email me. You can also look me up on Facebook and contact me that way. I wish you powerful transformation of deep shadow work in this coming year of the snake. This has been Mark Borax, Soul Level Astrologer, coming to you with the Cosmic Weather Report live from Putney, Vermont, Wednesday, February 12th, the year of the snake. Till we meet